This is Adario Strange, the editor of nextreality.net. We cover the present and future of augmented reality, and I'm here with Krista Kim. I believe she's a Canada-based artist right now. You're in Canada, right?
Correct. I'm based in Toronto, and I'm from here too.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And you just made, I guess, a little bit of history because this space, the NFT space, is moving so fast. It's kind of difficult to figure out who's first on some of this stuff. But it seems like you may have sold the first fully rendered, fully built out 3D virtual house called the Mars House. Is that correct? I mean, as far as you know, are you the first, or have you heard of anything else?
Well, I am the first who has minted one as an NFT and sold it as an NFT artwork, yes. Gotcha. There are other renderings of virtual houses out there, but none of them are NFTs. So I have basically merged architecture, art, and real estate into one through the power of the NFT.
Got it. And so I was reading up a bit about your story, and it says that you created this last year during the kind of the height of all of our troubles here on planet Earth. So I'm just wondering, what was the inspiration? What led to this? I looked at a lot of your work, and the design aesthetic and the approach, a lot of it is fresh and kind of it seems like you're all about breaking boundaries. But I'm very curious in this specific case, what was the inspiration? What kicked it off?
Well, actually, I'm a meditator and I practice meditation every day. So fundamentally, my work is all about creating a meditative state of consciousness through the art and the screen. I wanted to basically create a house of the future, because I know that in the future that LED walls will be used as architectural substrates. And so people who collect digital art can display them. And that was because I'm a digital artist. I thought, well, isn't that the ideal situation? So I decided to design it myself. And of course, my aesthetic is minimalist and digital Zen. And so I wanted to use, renewable and sustainable materials. I didn't want to use wood. There's a lot of glass and steel that's in the house, and I also wanted to build a house that could actually be built in real life. So and the furniture. So I built my dream home in the height of the crisis, right? Because I was inspired to do it. Living in a condo in Toronto, we've got a fabulous view. It's a great condo, but you know what? When you're in quarantine, I guess my mind just started to really dream up the dream scenario where I really wanted to be, and that's how I ended up with Mars House.
And why? By the way, why do you call it Mars House?
Well, I believe that it's such a breakthrough idea. And, I have this affinity with, science fiction and Mars and space travel. It's all very, sexy. So I thought, well, I would love to call my house Mars House, because it just, it has a beautiful ring to it. And it also evokes this futurist symbolism.
I'm just glad you didn't call it the Cyber House, because then you would get the, the moniker, the Elon Musk, and then the game that came out that was all glitchy.
Really?
So I'm curious, are you a VR person? And if so, why didn't you do this directly in VR?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not a VR person, but I'm an artist who loves to venture into mediums that that are new, and I like to stretch myself. So for this project, I always knew, of course, that it would be wonderful to have a VR experience and to create a rendering of this dream home. The idea to create it into an NFT didn't come until I learned about NFTs, and that wasn't until over 2 months ago. So really, I was also looking at the land. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I can hear you.
Good. I was looking at the landscape of the NFT art scene, and I was it's a nascent new scene, and the platforms are new, so they're kind of limited in their scope and parameters of what's possible, what the possibilities of an NFT artwork is, because right now it's basically just a picture on a screen or a video on a screen that's sold as just a an image on a screen. But I Mars House is a study of and really an artwork, an NFT artwork that is second generation NFT, where I believe we are going to be living augmented reality lifestyles very soon. I mean, Apple glasses are coming out next year, where we're going to have augmented, experiences in our homes, outside. There's also an app called Super World app, and I'm already an artist in residence. I'm very, we're good friends with the CEO Hrish, and there are lots of plans of how Superworld, which is basically created a virtual interface for real world geography and real estate, and they're selling these virtual real estate assets so that you could build upon them. And there's so many possibilities in business and art, lifestyle. Augmented reality and the possibilities of it in the future is such a huge potential market for creators. And so we're not going to be limited to, the current, art creation and sales platforms that are currently put out there. In fact, we're going to expand into more niche, more individual, more free expression and sales. Selling beautiful little digital 3D assets that people will love and adore and want to adorn themselves with, or poetry that you want to buy and put above your head as you go to the grocery store because you love it so much and you identify with it. So digital assets will become modes of self-expression in the world for people to really explore and enjoy and enrich their lives.
So that actually, I kind of buried the lead. The Mars House sold for over $500,000. Am I right? In Ethereum.
Correct.
Yeah, that's and I think the platform you used was, I'm forgetting.
Super Rare.
Super Rare, right? And so yeah. I think they said it was a record. Am I right? On their platform?
Correct. Apparently it is. Apparently it's an all-time high record on Super Rare. And it was quite a surprise for me. I just joined the platform, only over 2 months ago, and it's a real honor to have this recognition. But really, what I'm passionate about is my foundation. And bringing my sound and light healing installation world tour with Jeff Schroeder, my collaborator. He would be performing live electric guitar, healing sound frequency music for mass, public installations for healing and meditativeness. I think that the world needs it. And that's more of what I'm really excited about. It's not about, being top of the list, because it's not as if I'm going to, stay there. Who knows? It's not my number one priority as an artist.
So I wanted to go back to what you were saying earlier about the other platform, Superworld, I think you said it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So is that your first experience with blockchain? Because what I'm curious about. So you see a lot of artists now there are some who are native to the blockchain space, and they've been doing this for whether it's a few months or a year or two or several years. But now you have a bunch of artists kind of like rushing to kind of like, oh, let me see what I can do with NFT. So it sounds like you were kind of like a little bit ahead of the curve. And so what is your, I guess, blockchain fluency? How deep are you in this? Like, do you have, were you collecting Ethereum before? Like, are you already kind of like,
oh yeah, so basically, I really went down a rabbit hole into the whole crypto universe last December, when I was like, okay, where am I going to? How am I going to invest my assets to protect them from like the depreciation of our dollar fiat currencies?
Right.
I knew that I had to protect them ASAP. Okay, because the money printer was going to start very soon. And
money printer go
exactly, and the Canadian dollar is closely tied to the U.S. dollar. I mean, we're screwed if America has any hiccups. We basically suffer badly.
Right.
So I did some research on Bitcoin, and I was pleasantly surprised at the the transformational potential and the incredible use case for Bitcoin, and actually not only being the apex currency, the apex money and savings mechanism in the world and in human history, but it really is a mechanism for positive change that will eliminate corruption and the current fiat currency corruption, political cronyism, and corporate dominance of our political systems, right? And I'm a libertarian, so I'm very thrilled to be a crypto investor, to support decentralization.
And so I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too much, but I just really quickly, like based on kind of some of the stuff you're saying about like meditation and I think spiritual and mental wellness and that kind of thing, I'm also curious, like, what do you think about the critics who talk about not just Bitcoin, but also just these NFTs with regard to their potential impact on the environment, with regard to like the energy they consume and that kind of thing?
Well, you have to have a macro future long-term view. Okay, these people are not thinking long term, because if you stay in the status quo, what is the status quo? The fiat currency. What is a fiat currency? Fiat currency supports the petrodollar and corporate hegemony, and this is a system that actually feeds the oil and gas companies' dominance of the political system, and therefore any environmental initiatives are going to be snuffed out, because it's just not, it's not supported by the politicians that are in the pockets of the oil and gas industry.
Got it.
So the money that we use right now is actually supporting environmental degradation, and it basically prevents us and disempowers us from making effective change in the world for the environment, simply because the system is rigged, including the media. So everything is all connected and owned by the same, powers. So if you decentralize and stop using that fiat currency and start putting more money into Bitcoin and Ethereum, you're supporting a decentralized future. And therefore, you're putting more wealth into the people's hands. Power to the people means political accountability to the people. And if the people want a cleaner environment and they want alternatives for energy, for any kind of environmental policy, the politicians will listen. They will not listen to their overlords now, because they're overlords of the corporate powers.
Wow, I'm feeling a little inspired. I didn't expect such a good answer. All right, so let's get back to AR. My question, when I first heard you talk about Mars House and just the project in general, was how you related, because what I'm seeing a lot of people talk about NFTs and virtual art, but only a few people seem to understand something that myself and some of my colleagues really are excited about, which is this ability to take virtual objects that can be represented in AR and attach like a unique value to them, via blockchain. Yes. And so specifically with Mars House, I'm just like, so how do you envision that bearing itself out? Because my understanding right now is that it's primarily just like a virtual 3D construct.
Mm-hmm. It's a virtual 3D construct, but you can actually upload the 3D assets onto your metaverse. And in the future, when you actually have real space that is overlaid with a virtual UX experience, an AR experience, then you can actually upload it into your real space. For example, we can be having a chat, virtually in Mars House, wherever we are. We can actually have these, immersive experiences in Mars House. It's not just this beautiful thing that you can look on the screen. It's beautiful with the music, Jeff's music, but it's beyond that. It's an actual house that is also a work of art that you can live with in an augmented reality sense, right? So that's the first time. But the NFT, the reason why it's valuable as an NFT, whenever you have a work of art that is attached to blockchain, it makes it immutable. And it has a permanent ledger of all the activity of that artwork, all the transactions, and etc. So it's a trustless system that actually conserves the creative energy of an artist into the future, into infinity. So when you think about that, it is the supreme art medium, right? But I mean, not all, like right now, you've got a mixed bag in the market because everyone's jumping on board, and you've got all kinds of, creative things out there that are minted and called art. But I believe that there will become a delineation very soon between real art and, decorative collectibles. And indeed, you can have collectibles that are not worth much and will not retain its value. But real art has social capital. Real art has social capital that is meaningful for the actual society, that everybody understands as an important symbol or a barometer of what happened in a certain period of time. So with the passage of time, that actually appreciates in value as a social capital asset. And with the NFT, it's incredible because it lasts forever. So it's a really incredible medium. It's the best medium now and ever will be.
I went to Super Rare and I looked at the actual auction posting, and I noticed like some of the terms of the agreement where you have, kind of like if the new owner decides to resell it, it kind of it needs to be registered with you as the artist.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
To kind of confirm authenticity and just like the I don't know, just like to continue like the I don't know, the link, the chain back to the artist, like, for authenticity. But my question to you is like, as the artist, like, do you have any plans to work with the new owner to actually display this in AR or have any kind of like public installation, or are you kind of just leaving it to them and whatever they want to do, they want to do? Or is there any kind of discussion like with kind of like AR stuff?
That's a really good question. So last night I had a meeting with the collector and art on internet. And, we had a great discussion about, his goals and why he's collecting the art, and he's new to the space. He basically wanted to not only purchase the art and sort of have this collector and, flipper, art flipper kind of style of collecting. He wants to hold the art and invest in the artist's career. And while investing in the artist's career, he wants to be involved with artists who have social impact initiatives.
Gotcha.
So with the capital that he has, he wants to make sure that he's actually giving back to society in a direct way through the artist. And let me tell you, this is a new model of how artists can actually create value in the market instead of just creating collectible artworks. I believe that if you have an item that sells for a high ticket value, that you should actually donate a portion of that toward a foundation with a clear objective and plan for execution of some social initiative that matters to you, that your collector also believes in. So then the NFT then becomes a medium of not only investing in an NFT where the actual collector wins by retaining this beautiful piece of art that appreciates in value. He invests in the artist, who also benefits, and then society benefits from the beauty of whatever initiative comes out of that collaboration. And then if people love the work, if people have, a connection to the art and the artist because you see that the artist is making an effort to make the world a better place and contribute back to society, that creates social capital back into the art, back into the artists, which also increases the value of the art over time.
This is all making me think of something else I saw in relation to you and your work, which is techism. Is this kind of like an outgrowth of that? Is this kind of like extending that idea? And if so, could you like maybe just like briefly like explain what you mean by techism?
Well, techism is a very unique concept, only because it's only applicable to this time now, where we're living in a time of major disruption and transition into digital, and our society is basically struggling to adapt. Times of transition are never easy, as you know. And I felt that, because of this time of transition, a lot of people are going to feel lost, and there'll be a lot of negativity, divide, and you know, there's going to be a lot of us versus them attitude. And you know what? I think that art actually can bridge that, and actually can create hope, and create a narrative of a new way of thinking and a new civilization. I don't think that it's a good thing if we leave culture creation in the hands of technology and capital only, because then the technology will be designed to exploit us and make money off of us. Look at Facebook and Google, right? Perfect examples.
Right.
But if you actually have a creative person with an artistic mind in the creation process of a company or of a system, decentralization, I believe, is a very artistic concept. I believe that Vitalik Buterin and Elon Musk are artist engineers. I think that having an artist mind means that you want to create a beautiful world. You want to make the world better for humanity. It's a humane sort of like reason behind the action of creation. And so techism is a call to action for artists to pursue creative activities outside of art even, or collaborating with technologists and engineers and finding solutions to the world's problems by creating companies or art installations. Just get out there, just get out there and make connections, network. And through this beautiful, combination, when you have an engineer and an artist bump heads, and you have a beautiful outcome, right? And so that's what techism is about. For me, I am asked by the CEO of Superworld, Krish Laktikar, to join the company and to collaborate with them to create a beautiful world in an augmented reality world. And this is techism. I mean, he needs to reach out to us. He needs our ideas. He needs our philosophical, input into how, the ethics and the growth and, the foundation of this world will be. So this is what techism is. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No. I mean, actually, before I spoke to you, I actually did a little bit of a deep dive into some of the things you've said about techism. So that's why I was interested to kind of just hear your 2021 take on some. I mean, I think you started this back in 2014. Am I right? Is that? You've been like,
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So this is something you've been kind of like professing for some time. So this isn't like a new thing that is kind of like of the moment. So I really appreciated that. And that's why I wanted you to kind of get into it a little bit. I don't want to keep you too long, but I do have just a couple of last questions before I open it up if anyone has any questions. Really quick. So are you, like, when I look at your work, it seems like every time you do something, it's like pretty different from the last thing. So are you going to build more virtual NFT houses? Are you going to kind of move into something completely different? Like, are we going into Zaha Hadid territory in AR? Like, what's going on? Like, is Mars House the last one? What's going on?
I like your questions, Dario. You know what? I love to collaborate, because when I collaborate, I'm stretching my my horizons as an artist. So I believe that my work, there will always be a visual DNA behind my work, and that is the gradient. And the gradient will always symbolize to me the digital human and the new decentralized civilization, because we are all fluid, and digital makes us fluid. We used to be analog, we used to be rigid, and that's in the past. We are now more individual, we are more sovereign, we are more unique. Each of us is a unique gradient and a combination of many different characters and qualities. Each of us is an enigma, a continuum. So that's the gradient, and that will always be consistent in my work. But if you're asking me whether I'm going to create more houses, yeah, I'll create more, and I'll create other things too. My work is not, I'm even doing installations, healing art installations in hospitals. And I want it's called a project called Healing Atmosphere. I'm wrapping operation rooms in my art for healing atmosphere. I'm going to revolutionize the healthcare interior industry. And I go into all sorts of directions, whatever inspires me. I'm not rigid, I'm fluid. So yeah. Oh, and I also want to mention that I'm doing collaborations with Art Two people. Ken and Marco are in the room right now. Hi guys. And I'll be collaborating with incredible NFT artists in Super Rare. So I'm really excited about that.
So, if anyone has a question, please raise your hand. I'm going to ask one last question. First, well, a preface to my last question. Have you seen this HBO series, Years and Years? It's like a science
No,
fiction. So it's like a science fiction near future story. I think it's like maybe 10, 15 years in the future. And in that future, these augmented reality filters that, we use on Snapchat or TikTok or Instagram, you can now see them through, I think they were using contact lenses.
Yes.
And so you can now become in this storyline, in this series, you can now kind of become your avatar in real life. You can walk around with this AR avatar on your face. And so it's some of the things you were saying earlier, just about kind of like the future of AR and blockchain as it relates to AR, was kind of making me think about that. So like, just from your vantage point, in terms of identity, how we represent ourselves, the value of who we are, how do you see itself playing out, like with regard to AR specifically, just in terms of representation and how we express ourselves?
Well, I first of all, I believe that it's very important to advocate for a spiritual practice, even before we enter this realm, because it's dangerous. It really is. You can get lost in fantasies if you don't have a true, personal sort of individual identity. But meditation, of course, is something I advocate very strongly. But then when you have these tools to basically artistically create, personal expression of who you are, like tattoos, you can have 3D digital assets that overlay onto your body, like fashion, accessories, this kind of thing. I believe that that's the future. I believe that we are going to buy beautiful 3D digital assets that really accentuate and express who we are, who we want to be. And so that's it's going to be very expressive and creative and individualistic in that sense, where people are going to be very unique, and the uniqueness will be treasured, and it will be appreciated in others too.
Awesome. So we have a couple of people on stage to ask questions. Let's try to keep it short because I didn't want to keep Krista on too long. Tamrat, you can unmute.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for inviting me up here. And thank you, Krista, for kind of like overnight bringing this major interest into the AR NFT world. I feel like
Awesome.
This is kind of graduated to a new level. And my question is that, first of all, congratulations. This is like, it looks amazing. The Mars house looks amazing.
Thank you.
I wonder if you've thought about I see this as like a full composition, the Mars house. I wonder if kind of like in the future you're thinking about just having these individual pieces like digital furnitures that one can be combined from your Mars house, another one from another person. So I'm imagining like if I'm an NFT collector, I'm in my AR or VR space where I'm collecting different digital furnitures from an NFT creator, and then maybe like the houses from you, and then a digital plant from somebody else. So that it doesn't come as like one composition. Like I wonder how do you think about that, like as a one composition versus kind of this IKEA kit of parts type NFTs.
Interesting. So, well, Mars House, I would like to keep it as a standalone piece. I advise that it just be left as it is. It just, maintains the integrity of the concept of the design and everything. But in terms of the individual pieces, I actually have a plan with the collector to create the physical pieces with individual NFTs. So there will be opportunities to actually collect the digital chair or the physical chair, and I will of course offer the 3D asset for upload into Metaverse. I think it's wonderful to be able to accessorize your home with different items. This is the whole point. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think I guess earlier I heard you talk about collaborating, and so like kind of like putting I think like you said, like you are the creator, so you keep kind of like the wholeness of Mars House.
Yes.
But I think I'm imagining it would be great, if I have like 4 or 5 of my favorite digital creators, I want to be in charge of kind of switching parts, and that's the beauty of the fact that it's digital, and
Yes.
every day might be different. So that's what I was talking about.
Oh, no, of course. I believe that the current platforms are very limited. I believe that in the future, you will be able to customize and commission whatever you want. Collaborative, if you want your house built by one architect, the furniture pieces by individual artisans or 3D artists or artists as NFTs. Yes, this is all possible. But Mars House, basically, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to show the limitations of the current platforms so that somebody else or the current platforms will think ahead and say, okay, let's prepare for NFT 2.0 and enable this kind of interaction and minting and marketplace.
And yeah, I think I didn't mention, you kind of touched on it, Krista, but I didn't mention that you can also, there are items like furniture in the virtual house that will be produced I think from an Italian artisan, if I have it right.
Correct.
Yeah. So I love this kind of like one of my favorite things about just augmented reality and the blockchain is just this whole merging of like real objects, virtual objects, back and forth. So Karina, Tamrat, thanks for your question. Karina, you had a question.
Hello. It's less of a question and more of I want to quote something that Krista has said once in a room that I resonate with and think about often. And you already probably know what it is, Krista. It's that you had said, I believe that meditation will save us from the machine and art will save us from ourselves. And every time I hear you talk about the importance of meditation, it just makes my soul feel so aligned, and I'm very grateful to you for sharing that message, especially as you're emerging into this space. I've been doing the same. We've had a couple of conversations.
Thank you.
But yes, it's so important, and I just wanted to raise my hand to say that, and to also thank you to Can Florian for pinging me into the room. Shout out to Art to People.
Yes.
But yes, just thank you. And no, I wanted to raise my hand so that you know that you're not alone out there spreading this message. Many of us are, which I'm sure you know, but
thank you so much.
I know it can feel isolating. So
yeah, thank you. I find that people in crypto are a little more open to it, though. I think that, alternative lifestyle and different way of libertarian, this kind of thing. I think it's a great thing. It's a great movement.
Maybe it's that, and maybe you have something to say about this or ideas about this, but it perhaps could be that this whole idea or this reality of the blockchain evolving and this evolution of humanity kind of requires us to keep an open mind to conceptualize or at least understand. So at that point, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's true, because a lot of what people do is they basically follow a system and then they don't think outside of it. Like, look at the current art platforms, for example. Like, every artist is just following the platform and the formats and just going with that. And then, just pushing that, the limited parameters of the platforms, which informs the limitations of their work. But I think that it's an artist's job to disrupt. It's an artist's job to disrupt and then create new and to improve for everyone. So this is basically what's behind Mars House. I want to disrupt the system and I want to show the system how it could improve and where it could go. And I want to demonstrate that to artists, because there is something to learn here, because the new wave of augmented reality is coming. So it's an important thing to do, and you have to always do it in this space because things are moving quickly. And these platforms, have to adapt also. Everything has to be in constant flux and change at all times.
I want to reset the room real quick. This is Dario Strange, the editor of nextreality.net. We cover the present and future of augmented reality. We're on with Krista Kim, the artist behind the Mars House, which just sold for over $500,000 as an NFT piece of art. And she's kind of helping us explore kind of the future of how NFTs and augmented reality will converge. I kind of want to begin to wrap up, but I wanted to, if anyone has any last question, please raise your hand. My last question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to give a shout out to John Foves. If you could let him up here. John, I want to say hi. Haven't seen you forever.
Let's bring him up.
Can you bring him up?
Hold on.
Foves.
Technology.
Got the mask on.
There you go.
Hey, hi Krista, how you doing? Hey you guys.
Wow, it's been so long. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
Yes.
I just hopped into the meeting. I noticed very late and just wanted to hear your voice, everybody's voice. So
wow,
I missed it, but I'm here.
Wow. You know what, John? Like, I cannot wait for you to mint your NFTs, because you are going to create incredible NFTs. You have to join us. You really do.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody, check out John's art. I love his art. It's just so incredible, and he's a great human being. So, and I want you to mint soon. Like, it'll be great.
I'm working on that. I actually have a concept that I want to build already, but it's like a whole new world. Like I need to learn more from this, and I'm just like catching up. And I'm having a solo show of a physical art collection in Milano. It's in a month. And
wow.
Just finished this, and I'm gonna dive into NFTs. So, yeah, any help, I'll be happy to talk to everybody that knows about this. Eager to learn more. So, thank you, Krista.
No, of course. Thank you. Anytime. Reach out anytime if you need any
I will.
help.
I will. And congrats, everybody, for everything that you guys are doing, and girls.
Hey, John, if you can stay up, maybe the last question I want to ask both you and Krista. I ask everyone in NFT this question, and I'm really curious, like, kind of like how people are seeing this. Like right now, it seems like people are. You mentioned, Krista, earlier. You mentioned Elon Musk, and I think I heard about like a video. I think it might have been the Cybertruck presentation where someone minted it into an NFT, and then a bunch of people kind of followed after and kind of just made very slight changes and then offered their own, NFTs of that same video. And I'm just seeing like weird stuff. A toilet paper company came out today announcing an NFT. I mean, it seems like it's very rapidly morphing from this very beautiful, kind of art story to almost a land grab from various parties who have nothing to do with art, no interest in decentralization, no knowledge of blockchain and kind of what it means to the people who have been pioneering blockchain. So I'm just curious, like, both of you, like, what do you think? Like, is there a way to stop kind of like a devaluing of the entire space before it even gets started with all of this activity? Well,
in my opinion, I believe that we're following the laws of nature, and there's an 80-20 principle here. So I would say that 80% of the art is probably not going to be valuable after you purchase it. It's probably fun and lovely to have and something you could cherish, but not a financial, you can't expect a return on investment in 10 years, but 20% you can. So, that goes with everything, right? In life. So I believe that it's a market, it's open. You're going to have people come in, and you're going to have a lot of variation, a wide selection of art, good and bad. But you need the good art and you need the bad art to be comparable and to choose. Everybody has a choice.
Yeah, that's a good point, Krista. And Adriano. What's your name? Sorry, Adriano.
Adario.
Right?
Adario.
Okay, Adario. That's a great name, Adario. All right, Adario. So Matt, I tend, now that you mentioned Elon Musk, there's a speech that he made some years ago when he is talking about the evolution of virtual reality, and he mentions that our species, right, the human race, we're gonna technologically we're gonna move so fast in virtual reality that pretty soon we're not gonna be able to notice the difference between a VR world and the world we're living in right now.
Yeah.
So when he says that, he immediately goes by saying, what makes us think that we're not living in a VR world at this precise moment? That we have evolved to such a level that we are right now inside a hologram as for this life. So, my interpretation of what's happening is that we are jumping into creating this VR world with the NFTs. We're just basically digitalizing everything that we can find. So we're accelerating into something called art, but we're actually just in a way just putting everything that we can find into a digitalized world, because that's the world that pretty soon everybody's going to be living inside. That's the way I'm seeing this, in a certain futuristic way.
The simulation.
I agree.
The simulation is becoming real.
The simulation is becoming real, something like that. Exactly.
Right,
so
right.
It's going even beyond art. It's like the whole world is going to be driven into this whole thing, right? And the money calls everybody in, right? You hear that $70 million. And still, here I'm in Costa Rica, and there's a lot of people that don't know about NFTs, and still they don't believe in cryptocurrency. But this has become, I believe, the biggest let's say, a wave of information for people that don't believe in cryptocurrency to start learning more about this and seeing that this is the new future for currency as well.
Absolutely.
Indeed. I'm loving this. I want to make sure I give out your URL, Krista. It's krista.kim, yes?
Yeah, that's right. KRISTA.kim.
And if you go there, you can find more of her work, more of her thoughts, and more of the future. I'm going to wrap up.
My art's on Super Rare.
Also on Super Rare. What's the URL on that?
It's my username is Krista Kim, so you can easily search for me on Super Rare.
Krista Kim on Super Rare. Mm-hmm. Got it. And John, when do you have a timeline for your project?
Okay, so the solo show is with Plan X Gallery, and that's going to happen probably first week of April, last week of March. This NFT thing has changed, and also the Corona, right? And the project that I'm building, to be honest with you, I don't have a timeline. I'm gonna reach out to you and to Krista to see if you can give me some heads up on ideas. But I hope, like, I'm designing already some digital Fauves art, and probably like in 2 months or a month, maybe I'll be ready to launch the concept that I have in mind. We can talk about it if you guys are up to it.
Absolutely. Krista, any last words before we close the room?
Thank you very much for joining us and for listening in, and thank you so much for your support. If you would like to ask me any questions about Mars House or anything, I'm always open for DMs. And once again, thank you.
This conversation has been. I just really enjoyed this because you speak with a lot of power. A lot of people have great ideas, but they don't know how to, particularly like in the art world, a lot of artists just speak visually or with their art. And sometimes they don't have the ability to kind of communicate their ideas, but you are powerful. Your communication style is powerful, and I appreciate it. So thanks for joining us, Krista.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Talk to you guys next time. Cheers.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you. Bye-bye.